Hey everybody, John here from No Joke NHL on Tuesday, April the 19th. I'm sorry, Thursday, April the 19th. We're giving our daily report, recap of last night's games, recap of our wagers, and what our wagers are for this evening coming up. So let's get right to it. First game last night, New York Rangers at the Ottawa Senators. This game went to overtime with the Ottawa Senators getting the overtime goal to tie the series at 2-2. This is your number 1 New York Rangers matched up against the number 8 Senators. New York Rangers put 2 power play goals up in the first. Ottawa answers with an even strength goal in the second and a power play goal of their own. And then Ottawa, no scoring in the third period. Ottawa finishes it off in overtime in spite being outshot 3-1 in that overtime period. Shots on goal pretty even this time, 33 for the Rangers, 31 for the Senators, and so the goaltenders pretty solid on both ends of the ice. I guess the difference being that the Rangers needed the extra attacker to score last night and were unable to get an even strength goal. And again, we're talking about the Rangers not being able to get enough people involved and putting pressure on the Senators. I mean, Anderson, certainly not one of the elite goaltenders, certainly not in the class of Henrik Lundqvist, but he's able to get the job done because they're just not putting enough pressure on him. Richards and Gaborik both getting on the scoreboard last night with helpers in the Rangers' goals on both of them. But Rangers, I think, are in trouble here. I think Ottawa is live. I still think at the end of the day, Lundqvist is going to win this battle and keep them in there. But moving forward for future plays or for the Rangers going into the East, not a good sign with their offense sputtering the way it is. With no need to mention offense sputtering in the Flyers and Penguins. Another crazy, wild scoring game. This time 10-3 for the Pittsburgh Penguins to avoid the sweep against the Flyers. And it was the Flyers that lost their minds and their cools, being penalized in this game 16 times for 64 minutes. Penguins, not necessarily good boys themselves, penalized 10 times for 36 minutes. Power plays in this game, 4 of 9 for Pittsburgh, and 3 of 5 for Philadelphia. So actually Philadelphia with a higher percentage on the power play, although Pittsburgh outscoring them on the power play. Again, defense non-existent in this series, and Pittsburgh may come back and sweep this. I highly doubt it. But moving forward, both these teams, whoever comes out of this, most likely Philadelphia, you really have to figure that if you're a Flyers backer or a Flyers fan, you hope that they have a defensive alter ego to step out, because right now the defense is non-existent. The goaltending is horrific, but frankly, so is the defense. I mean, these guys are just skating up and down the ice, taking wide open looks, slapping pucks everywhere. I mean, these guys have talent on both sides of the puck here to put it in the net. So the total for the next game coming up already lined at 7 with no juice to the over or under. Definitely uncharted territory. 6 is almost uncharted territory. 6.5 definitely off the charts, and now 7. If you're jumping in on the overs at this point, you're pretty much flipping a coin. If you've been riding this, all the way, and you don't see these teams being able to step up and play some defense, and frankly, I don't know who can at this point. Each of these teams giving up or averaging, whichever way you want to look at it. For Pittsburgh, they are giving up 5 3/4 goals per game. Philadelphia giving up 5.5 goals a game. So not exactly championship material, and I'm really surprised to see the futures on the Flyers at as low as 6-1 with playing this type of defense. The final game last night was the game that we wagered on. I didn't really like any of these games last night, and I ended up going with the Kings. A couple things led me to go there. I kind of thought the way the money was coming in late on Vancouver, I thought this was steam based on Daniel Sedin coming back for the first time in a month, and usually hype like that is not warranted, especially with that type of swing in the cash. So I went with the Kings to finish it off. They didn't disappoint, put 44 shots on goal, but only getting one. Their power play, their power play 0 for 3 last night, while the Vancouver Canucks get off the schneid on the power play and put 2 of 3 in. Up to this point, they were 0 and 12, giving up 2 shorties on top of that. So a marked improvement for Vancouver, and they got a couple deflected pucks. I mean, Quick certainly played a solid game. Schneider definitely was up to task with 43 saves last night. So moving back, the series moves back to Vancouver, and it'll be interesting to see. I still like the way the Kings are playing. They also got Richardson back last night from an emergency appendectomy. So moving forward, this series is still alive. If you're a Kings backer, you are most likely going to cash in that series. Flyers, Pittsburgh, I mean, it'll be hard to make what comes out of that with the way that effort is. You know, to have a team up against it with 3 players down and to give up 10 goals certainly gives a lot of people the confidence. They had Malkin able to get off the board as well. So moving forward tonight, we have Florida Panthers, Jersey Devils. The line very similar to what it was the other night. -170 on the Devils, +150 on the Florida Panthers. And frankly, from what I've seen in this series, I really have to question the Devils' psyche, even though the way they've been able to score in quick bunches here. You have to like the effort that the Florida Panthers are putting up. They may not be flash, and they may not be, you know, getting highlights all year long on SportsCenter, but this team has some crafty players who can put the puck in the net, and they proved that the other night after being down 3-0. So the crazy part, every one of these games has been a 3-0 lead for one team or the other. Devils twice, Florida once. Florida has taken 2 of these games, and they remain very live at this price. So I don't think I'm going to jump in. I'm just going to watch this and see what happens moving down to Florida. But if I were leaning anyway, it certainly would be on the dog. I could not see anyone in their right mind laying 170 on the Devils, even though this is a must win. Frankly, they're all must wins in the playoffs, in my opinion. Actually, one game or one play that may work out or be pretty advantageous, and come to look at it, I had it circled and missed it. Florida Panthers in regulation -0.5 a goal at +231. So maybe I'm going to get on that. Matter of fact, it's not a maybe. I video proof. I'm on it. So I'm going to take Florida Panthers -0.5 in regulation at +231. In the Capitals game, Capitals Bruins tonight. Bruins taking game 3, 4-3 over the Capitals on the Capitals home ice. They're coming right back as -135 favorites. Come back on the Capitals at +115. I believe listening to the score talk on Sirius Radio that the Bruin fans are definitely confident that the Bruins finally turned the corner. I'm not so quick to jump there. Like I said, I have a couple, you know, everybody knows where my interests are in this series, as I hold a couple Capitals series tickets here. And I look for the Capitals to have another great effort. Holtby beaten, you know, with a couple deflected pucks in front of the net, as was Thomas the last game, as the floodgates kind of opened after 2 very tight games in the first 2, and we had 7 goals on tap. I really don't know what to expect as far as the total in this game coming up, but for the Capitals to be successful, they need to play the defense that they had in the first 2 series. Hopefully, Capitals, by the way, without Backstrom in this game, serving a 1-game suspension for the match penalty, cross-checking the player at the end of the game last time, so he's out in a 1-game suspension. But as I said, I look for the Capitals to group together, not cave in easily. Of course, if they go down, this series is all but over, heading back to Boston with the Bruins having a possible 3-1 lead. But I'm looking for the Capitals to tie this up tonight, getting +115 on the board. Decent price. If you can get more, like I said, maybe if Boston money comes in on this, might be able to get the Caps higher for this total game. And actually, Capitals in regulation minus a half at plus 184. Not a bad poke there, and I probably have a little piece of that in spite of the high possibility of an overtime game. Definitely not looking to play that prop here, though, at only plus 280, a little under the median there for a play in my book. Moving on to the Phoenix Coyotes and Chicago Blackhawks. Phoenix takes the 2-1 series lead on their overtime win, the third overtime game in this series, and I'm looking for the overtimes to stop in this. I'm kind of looking for the Blackhawks to have a little breakout game, a little revenge factor with Marian Hossa. Of course, Torres, Phoenix not missing much other than the physical presence of Torres, so he's temporarily suspended until he has a hearing, and of course Hossa inactive for this game. But I look for the Blackhawks to be fired up, as Coach Quenneville was about the refs, missing the call and giving that thing. I'm not really going to debate whether it was a clean hit, like I said, because I've been watching hockey for a real long time, and the tide has certainly changed in the past couple years, good, bad, or indifferent. So I'm not sure if that was a penalty at the time, but it was a serious injury to Hossa, and so I believe the Blackhawks are going to have a little revenge factor factored into that. Plus, for the Blackhawks to be successful, they need to get pucks past Mike Smith. They've shown that they can do that, just not as consistent as they should. And for the Blackhawks to be successful, they need to put the pucks in the back of the net. So I would almost lean to the over here. Over 5.5 is at plus 120. Under 5.5, minus 140. I kind of look for, like I said, a little breakout game on the Blackhawks. Not going to bite at minus 1.5, plus 185. And Blackhawks in regulation at minus a half, plus 107. Not that tempting either. So maybe what I'm going to do is just predict the Blackhawks to have a kind of a breakout game and jump on the over 5.5 at plus 120 there. Final game of the night: St. Louis and San Jose. The Blues with a 2-1 series lead here. The games, if you look at the scoreboard, seem close. Of course, the Sharks winning Game 1 3-2 in double overtime. The Blues winning Game 2 1-0, and then the Blues taking Game 3 in San Jose 4-3. In that game 4-3, they did lead 4-1 early on. They went 3 of 4 on the power play, and so they had this game put away convincingly. Put 4 shots on goal in the final period against the Sharks because, frankly, they didn't have to. They were just going to preserve the lead. And I think the Blues are still going to maintain. I think their physical presence is really what's dictating here. They're well coached, well coached, by Hitchcock, and so they're playing tight. And Sharks have struggled on the PK. I've heard that Thornton is actually going to be on the penalty kill tonight for San Jose, which actually means extra time for him. He may be dragging as far as his other duties on the power play that he has for San Jose. So I'm not sure that's going to be a winning move. But the Sharks are juggling their line, and like I said, I think the reason they are is because they're getting outmatched. On each of these lines individually. The two top lines have been able to square off against each other, and actually this series is all even at 4 goals apiece at 5-on-5, but the Blues hold a convincing 5 power play goal to 2 power play goal edge over the Sharks. So, where I'm standing in this series is clear if you watch my preview. I'm on the Blues to finish this off. I felt the Blues were probably my easiest winner in the first round. I'm not sure if that's going to hold true, but I do like the Blues in 5 games or 6, and so I look for the Blues to take this game. Should be a relatively low-scoring affair, but again, at a total of 5, the under at minus 120. We all know my sentiment as far as that goes, as laying the under 5. So that finishes today's report. Again, tell your friends about these videos, pass them around. Ask me any questions, No Joke NHL on Twitter, or post comments on the YouTube. I'll be posting this in viewfromvegas.com, where you can get a bunch of different hockey handicappers in there. Guy Davey Shines last night, 3-team parlay paying 7-1 that he put out. So definitely a lot of information out there. Be sure to listen to everybody, follow nobody. Make up your own mind, but let's make some money. Peace. I'll see you tomorrow.